What up, y'all? It's your man Abuamerican. We are back. We with some special guests here. Barakallahu fikum. But is doing some work out there for the Ummah, Jazakallah khair, in East Africa. And
But yeah,
why don't you introduce yourself real quick? Your names are obvious, but let's go ahead and go through it.
yeah, definitely. So maybe I'll introduce myself first, and then Waleed can talk about himself and what he's been doing. My name's Dylan. I've lived in Somaliland now for like 2 years,
All right.
and I became Muslim, alhamdulillah, I think about 6 years ago, and I've been kind of traveling around the Middle East, seeking knowledge in different ways. And once I came to Somaliland, I just kind of fell in love with it. Seemed like a really like kind of pure, really good Islamic environment, and so I decided to kind of stay here. And I'm working. My first job out here was as an English teacher. Found a job teaching English here in Somaliland, and then my business partner Waleed, I actually first met him about 3 years ago, in 2019, and we kept running into each other randomly throughout the city. Like I kept seeing him. I met him one time 3 years ago on the street, and then saw him again at some restaurant or something, then saw him again some other time, so we finally decided to hang out, get some tea and just kind of talk it up. And we had some really similar ideas about Somaliland, similar ideas about business, and I fell in love with his business, which is Land of Prosopis, which is what we're both working on now. It's what he started about 4 years ago. And I just fell in love with the business, and that's what I've been working on full time. So I'm the CFO. I do all the finances and the bookkeeping, and I kind of reach out to international people as well. And Waleed is the CEO. He's the company is his baby. It's been his project for 4 years. So I'm kind of a latecomer into it all. We spend every day kind of working here, kind of reaching out to people in different countries, and it's really great work, mashallah. I'll let Waleed, really describe the company, but that's a brief introduction for myself. Waleed, do you want to talk for a little bit?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalid Ahmed. I'm, by the way, a German diaspora. I moved 2017 back to Somaliland, and you have to imagine, since '88, I was not in my motherland. So when I grew up in the West, sometimes there's something missing in you when you don't know where you're from. So when I came back home in 17, I only remember Somalia from the TV, starvation, desert land, conflict. When I came to Somaliland, mashallah, I've seen a big difference. So what the Western media tell us about Somalia don't exist in Somalia. Somaliland is the opposite. Somaliland is the driving country. It has its own problems, of course. Starvation is still real over here, and shortage of water, and people cannot afford everything. But it is not a civil war country anymore. It is a country where it's being private built by themselves, with their own sufficient government, where all the tribes come together, and the number one rule is peace, and everybody wants a bit success in their life. So this country has its own internet network for the last 12 years, set up by 3 private companies. It has its own infrastructure. It's not like the West, but it's coming slowly up. We don't have the development funds that other countries have. So I fall in love when I've seen these places. It has many challenges, and I'm a person, I like to have a challenge. And I've seen this invasive plant called Prosopis, what is really, in German they call it Unkraut. It is a troublemaker. It has one of the longest rooting systems of plants, and it's very aggressive. No other tree can live to it, and it dry suck the land. At the same time, it's called the tree of life in North America, where it's from originally. So the tree has many benefits, and I made a research about it. I met some German guy called Thomas Hotz from the Welthungerhilfe. It's a German NGO, and he was really, really, not an expert, but he was really like, a business has to be taken over this because it has that many benefits. You can produce animal feed, fertilizer, you can produce sustainable charcoal, you can produce mesquite flour for human consumption. It has high protein content. So I fell in love with the whole idea and the concept behind it, and we are the first private company in Somaliland to utilize this tree, and it can change. It can change, actually. It can do something for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. Wait a minute. You say you're German?
Yeah, I'm German.
Ach so, und deshalb hast du Deutsch gesprochen am Anfang.
Natürlich, ich wollte dir Hallo sagen.
Ach so, ja, ich habe gedacht einfach, du kannst Deutsch, du kannst Deutsch sprechen, aber ich habe nicht gewusst, du bist Deutscher. Okay,
Nein, ich bin
cool.
in Deutschland. In Deutschland Entschuldigung, aufgewachsen. Ich habe in Deutschland Basketball gespielt.
So, yeah, I taught myself
Die
German.
deutsche
So my German is self-taught. You know, I didn't go to school or anything. I kind of grew up here, but nobody taught me German but me. I just picked it up from books and whatnot. So, okay.
Yeah, very
So
good.
now I put a link to your. Well, we'll get to this in a second. So this invasive plant, what it's called the tree of life. How
Can
did
you
it
give me
get?
1 second?
Yeah, it
My
has a few
watchman is
different
calling
names.
me. Hannah. Yeah. Uche, what's up with you? Sorry. We are in our office and the watchman called me. We just put some water in the water tank, so I have to pay the guy. Wrong timing.
All right. Well, how did this thing get? How did this plant get to Somalia? You said it's from America and it ended up in Somalia. Okay, so
Interesting story. It was the West. It was the foreigner. I don't want to say the white man, but it was the white man. He brought 60 years ago to our country. He was thinking it had benefits for us. So his attention was good. You know, when you have refugee camps, we have desert land. It will actually, what it will do, it will actually grow fast, become a thick bush. So it will control the desert storms. So in many big refugee camps, they put it around it because the refugee camps have been always built around, away from the cities because the wars are in the cities in Africa. So they're going up to the jungle, like northern Kenya is desert land, Somaliland is a desert land. Some part of Eritrea is desert land. So they planted this tree 60 years ago with good attention, and it became an invasive plant what took over our nation. And the biggest threat today after water is this invasive plant. Every good farmland, I will get hold of it. The Prosopis pots, when they fall down on the floor, the goats and camels, the animals, they eat them because we don't have enough grazing available in our land because we have shortage of rain, especially the last 10 years as well. So they have no animal feed. They're looking around for it. And when they see these pots, they munch them, and the seeds are so hard they cannot really bite them. So they cannot crush them with their teeth. So what they do is they spit out the seeds. Sorry for my language. And when they're shitted out, the seed is becoming naturally fertilizer, so it replants himself everywhere through the nation. 70% of our people rely on livestock. So you have to imagine how much livestock that we have freely running around in our country. And this spread became so dangerous that in 30 years, half of Somaliland will be covered.
wow.
99% of our farmland will be covered by this tree. Somaliland is a big country. We already have 8,000 square kilometers of this invasive plant, and it grows 15% growth. So it is a natural threat, environmental threat to us. In the same time, the acacia trees, the natural habitat in Somaliland, in the desert land, 80% deforestation has happened in the last 30 years through charcoal usage. The big difference is between them two trees. The Prosopis is hardwood. It's 2.5 times harder than oak.
Oh, wow.
Acacia trees are softwood. Acacia trees are softwood. So what people do who produce charcoal, they use African axes, a bit primitive. They're not like the Western axes. So you don't really can cut with it hardwood. You have to cut softwood. They produce softwood because they don't have the tools to cut the hardwood.
Yeah.
That's how we have 80% of our deforestation happen in the last 30 years. And now we have overgrowth of these Prosopis trees.
So
what
you have
we did is we applied for a license. Sorry. We applied for a license with our government because chainsaws are forbidden in our country. And charcoal production technically is forbidden through the United Nations. But 90% of our people use charcoal for fuel. They cannot afford no gas, no solar, no electricity to cook their food. You have to imagine we are nomads. People are still living in these small little villages with no grid, doing the little farming, doing the livestock keeping, like 100 years ago the West used to do. So we brought chainsaws to be able to cut this hardwood in a valuable time because it's a business input-output. What you put in is your finances. What you want out is the raw material as much as you can because the raw material becomes money. So without a chainsaws operator, we could not be liable because the tree is very hard and it takes time to cut it. So yeah, we brought this change, and this change, what affected is we're using hardwood to produce charcoal. When you produce hardwood for charcoal, you become better charcoal. So you have 50% less consumption of our charcoal, technically, if you buy our charcoal. When we produce it with a furnace. It's a special carbonization process. So you have another 80% savings of the raw material, where you have the opposite. When you do the African kilns, it's like a hole in the floor. They put the
Yeah.
trees in, they put some meter plates on top, and let it burn for 7 days, and let it dry for 7 days. You lose 60 to 80% of the raw materials. It's like a big wastage.
Indeed.
So we try to change the trend around where people save and people have quality charcoal, and we're using this invasive plant and let the nature regrowth again.
So
Right now, yeah.
Just going recapping some of the stuff. It seems like you just had like a perfect storm. You know, believe it or not, the second thing I studied in university was environmental sciences and engineering. So, you know, I'm pretty familiar with like the topic of like invasive species and like, you know, ecological and environmental issues and solutions also. It sounds like you had like a perfect storm of like just, you know, what do you call an ecological nightmare to take place with the primitive tools mixed together with local softwood, that's the indigenous plant, mixed together with hardwood from the, you know, from the invasive plant. And so what did people do? They just started tearing up the local plant, stealing even more what do you say, natural territory or habitat from it, just making space for the hardwood to like just really just take off that invasive plant. That's like pretty that's nightmarish, man. That's like wow. In that regard, let me just ask a quick question on top of that. Well, I mean, why not open an axe business? I'm just curious. I'm just for conversation here. Why not open up an axe business? Do you guys like import like, you know, high quality food also? I mean, or is that just not cost effective for locals?
Yeah, to go electric.
Hello?
Say it again.
I think we're having connection problems. Hey, Dylan, you still there?
What was the question again? You said bring some access.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I was saying, like, is it less?
Could you repeat yourself again? Sorry, my friend.
What's that?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There's a lot of delay and lag though on my end. I don't know if it's...
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I lost you for a second. What was the question, my friend?
I was saying, is it not cost effective to bring in higher quality tools for locals, like, you know, maybe axes or something of like higher quality?
Huh? Give it a please. Can you hear me, guys? I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there.
I can hear you. I think we're having connection problems, guys. Can you guys hear me? Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I can hear you, but yeah, you keep cutting out. I'm gonna try to leave and then maybe come back in.
All right. Gully, can you hear me? No, sorry guys, we're having connection problems. I'm seeing a lot of lag on my end. Well, until we can get
when
like...
you bring access, you need to bring the tools in to keep them sharp as well. And who's going to pay for that?
Gotcha. This is what I meant by
That's
cost
the big
effective.
question. I spoke to the UN before and the FAO, the big development agencies, and sometimes they would, yeah.
I got up to development agencies and then I missed the rest.
To them on the phone. So,
Oh man. Guys, we're having connection problems.
can you hear my connection? Is my connection okay? I can hear you fantastic. Can you hear me?
You come and go. Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're not. It's like your video pauses, and then like you can tell there's a huge difference between your video and your audio, at least on my end. Whoops, and I'm alone. So much for the interview. Well, he was just saying that basically it's not cost effective because you also have to bring in sharpening tools for the axes, which makes sense. You know, most of the time, unless you're gonna like be running like, what is this thing called? You know, one of those stone grinders or something like you see in video games or in movies, like, you know, from the 14th century. it's probably not going to be viable to bring in extra tools. Just trying to go down like a list of like ideas that would be simplest and most cost effective. But then you also have to think about tools do require tool makers and tool handlers and tool what do you call it? There's a word for it. It's machinists, who take care of tools. I studied environmental sciences with the University of Maryland, and I'm really interested in the topic. To believe it or not, I want to get into power production. I want to get into natural power production. That's my end goal. But I'm getting kind of old. I don't know how it's going to work out. I want to do it here in Germany. Germany is looking at an energy crisis. We're not here to talk about this, but I'm waiting for these guys to come back. And the idea is to turn human waste, aka sewage, into power. And if you Google, or if Google is probably less effective, go on YouTube and look up biogas digestion, and you will find there that you can actually turn human fecal matter using bacteria into methane gas. Methane gas can actually power houses. Japan has a 7 megawatt plant for biogas digestion. That's roughly 20 million homes that runs off human waste. So environmental sciences. Hey, welcome back. I was just talking about using the environment and your local resources, waste materials, whatnot. To for something positive. Yeah, his connection was really bad. So he was saying he went to the UN and spoke to the UN about this stuff. No, it is what it is. I mean, he's connection issues, obviously. So he's talking about like speaking to them in terms of tools and whatnot, and how it would be not viable. I was going down like the mental process of like what's easiest down to what's most difficult, or other way. Do you know part of that story? What he was going to say? Oh, here he is. 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, so it's coming in now.
Welcome back. Thanks.
Cool, but but I think you were saying something about. Oh, Khalid, can you hear me? Khalid,
I can hear you. You keep breaking up.
Yeah, I think the connection's like kind of bad.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you. You were telling us about the UN, and you spoke to the UN about like with the tools and whatnot. The idea I had. Excuse me.
Yeah, Khalid, did you want to continue with that? You were discussing with the UN something.
Yes. The biggest challenges that we have. Yeah. The biggest challenges that we have. We are the winners from 2019 of Innovation Camp for Food and Energy Sustainability in Somaliland.
Okay.
So we actually entered a camp and we beat the gas competition, we beat the solar competition, we beat the generator competition, and on paper we showcased that we can have actually 80% raw material saving. We will be percent saving the charcoal usage in Somalian households. Then with delays, we had some jealousy and envy internally going on. I always said Africans sell out Africa. There is no white man could do anything to us Africans if we take care of us Africans. So there's another African working in the department of the UN. He's the head of the charcoal and he's a Somali. He comes from Somalia, from Mogadishu. And I come from the north, from Somaliland. So we are not really the same country anymore, but always Somalia trying to see Somaliland as the same country, So what has happened, the guy paid out the second prize and the third prize before he paid our money. Our money came delayed by 1.5 years. We had to fight for it. I had to complain, I had to go through Nairobi channels. So it was very difficult. Finally, we got that money. I added another $25,000 from my own savings, and we bought the right equipment. We set it up, and we showcased the numbers that I've broadcast before, that I've forecast before. So I'm more comfortable than I was before, and it's delicate showcase. We deliver to a few restaurants. One of our favorite restaurants is Art Cafe. They have a Syrian chef, and they used to use 11 bags of charcoal monthly, and we halved that to 5 to 6, sometimes even 4. That's how good our charcoal is.
Wow. That's impressive, man.
And we want to franchise this through Somaliland and East Africa. We want to give these techniques away, train the people, and set up at the UN and the FAO on a big scale. And technically, this should be good for the whole world, not only for Somaliland. Secondly, Al-Shabaab is controlling the charcoal trade in Mogadishu.
Al-Shabaab
So
is in
if
charcoal.
we-
Wait.
Yes,
Al-Shabaab in the charcoal business.
yes, it's a $500 billion industry in Somalia alone.
Wow.
But it's the fuel and energy of every household. Every household has to buy it. So what they're doing is the UN approached a supplier, makes a contract with them, and afterwards, Al-Shabaab takes over the supplier.
Wow. That's insane. I would have never thought. I mean, that's some pretty
Are you
stiff
with me?
competition right there. That's some dangerous competition right there. When your competitors are Al-Shabaab.
So, yeah, 2017. But not for me, because I live in Somaliland. Don't forget, we don't have Al-Shabaab in my land. We will never. The people,
Yeah.
people love the nation so much. If there's any wave of nastiness, people want the government. Like snitching is in Somaliland straight when it comes to Al-Shabaab.
Gotcha.
So the people, there's a network of the human beings who live in our country who protect each other. We don't tolerate this kind of behavior. So if we see somebody is radicalized and is moving the wrong way, their father will take him to the police and to the government. Their father, their brother, their sister. So radicalization don't exist in Somaliland.
Understood.
We are not the same people as them.
All right,
in
fair,
that common
fair.
sense.
So I'm curious
To be
about
honest,
the process.
Al-Shabaab, I believe, is a business.
Their business.
I believe a lot of these big development NGOs are kind of happy they exist because if Somalia gets under feet again, it will be the king of Africa, and Somalis are very intelligent people. Mogadishu is a beautiful place. So how you control and conquer, let them fight each other.
Yeah, mashallah. Yeah, no. I've seen a lot of photos and videos of Somali. One of my wives is Somali, actually. So alhamdulillah, I get the scoop on it. I get to hear about it.
Say again, please.
I said one of my wives is from Somalia, so I get the scoop on Somalia here and there. I get to hear about it. I get to see pictures.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are we still online?
So let me ask you, the process that you guys use to produce this charcoal. I'm just curious about the technology personally, real quick. What is this? Do you use pressure? So you're using like what? What's some sort of like pressure?
What part?
Who?
What part is she from? What part of Somalia? What part is she from Somalia? North or south?
She's from north. She's from the north. Yeah. The machine that you guys use to produce the charcoal, is this like heat and pressure? How is it? Because I've seen like some of the machinery to produce charcoal. Is it heat and is it pressure or is it some other type of system? Because I'm curious because are you using the invasive plant to actually power the machine at the same time?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, we're using firewood, Prosopis firewood.
Mm-hmm.
The same invasive plant that comes to raw material is our firewood as well for the equipment.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. In regards to the life cycle of the plant, do you have like a general?
On that one. Look, to continue the subject I was talking about this UN development agencies.
Please feel free to continue.
Oh, sorry.
We lost
you have Khalid now. Now you don't have. Do you have me and now you don't have Khalid now?
When.
Sorry.
Sorry, bro. Man, can you hear me, Abuamerican?
I can hear you.
Dylan. Okay.
Yeah. Am I in there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys? Am I in here?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I think we choose the worst time. I think we choose the worst time to be online.
It would seem so. Yeah, the lag is pretty bad.
Yeah, I think we should be online after 11 in Somaliland. Time will be 9 o'clock in Germany for a better connection.
Well, we could try this again. I
Do you
mean,
think it's possible to maybe reschedule or something?
Yeah. Let's just do that. We'll reschedule. We'll try and get this at a better time with less lag,
Right.
and go from there.
All right, bro, thank you for
Apologies,
your understanding, bro.
viewers. We were trying to. If you haven't seen it, here is the link to their. 1 second. For crowdfunding. Let me just go ahead and throw this up because the lag is not on my side, so I'll go ahead and throw this up real quick, and then we'll just take a quick look at this right here. So this is basically the crowdfund website. It it has everything in here, what they're doing. 3-minute video. You can watch it. You don't have to. We don't have to watch it here, but you get the idea.
Hi, my name is Ahmed.
And we got our brother here speaking, whatnot, and explaining the situation and what he's doing. Please feel free to go by there, support your brothers. Your brothers, and not just the brothers here. When I'm saying your brothers, I'm saying your brothers and your sisters in Somaliland. We got money for like fat whips, huge cars. We know this is a relationship channel, but I talk about all sorts of other stuff. Y'all brothers be spending $50,000 on a maher for a bit that don't even cook and clean for you. Take half of that and drop it on the brother, and then get you a sister that'll cook and clean for half that price. But the brothers doing good stuff for the ummah out here, for the Muslims, and so we should try and support the brothers as best as possible, so we can improve the lives of the Muslims and just in general. Get this ummah back on track in all ways. First and foremost with kitab wa sunnah, and then after that, taking care of the people's dunya and making sure they got, the strength and the ability to actually focus on improving and making themselves better in all way, starting with the religion first, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. I'm going to get with these brothers. We're going to reschedule and we're going to try and get on with a better time, with a better connection. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. This is your man, Abuamerican, and we will see you soon, inshallah.